social effect in that consent to advise Union Summit at the UN headquarters in New York. The group, which included Afro-Guyanese drawn from different organizations, including the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana and the General Workers Union, strongly objected to HAC, an Indo-Guyanese representing Afro-Guyanese at the Permanent Forum. Elton McRae, who was among those on the picket line, questioned why Commissioner Ras Kafra is not representing the ERC at the Permanent Forum.
Can't Africans represent themselves at these forums, or is it that the ERC is going there to propagate government lies about what they are doing for the African community? So they cannot be speaking for us. Mr. Ak is not speaking in my name.
Adding his voice to the issue, Roy St. Peters told news source that he's of the opinion that the chairman of the ERC is not sufficiently apprised of the issues confronting Afro-Guyanese in Guyana, and is therefore unfit to represent Afro-Guyanese at the 4th session of the Permanent Forum on People of African Descent. He said the forum is taking place at the start of the 2nd International Decade of People of African Descent, and Afro-Guyanese should have been appropriately represented.
Mr. Hack or the ERC is not sufficiently aware of the issues that we have been fighting to correct in this country. So he's ill-prepared to represent any of us at the forum. He can't speak for us. As a matter of fact, he was there at one of earlier forum, I think he the first or the second, and he totally misrepresented the fact. He said at the forum that Africans in Ghana were okay. Everything's all right with us. That's a total lie.
He said through a democratic process in the National Assembly, Ras Kafra was nominated and subsequently appointed to represent the Afro-Guyanese community on the ERC, and therefore should have been given the opportunity to be present at the forum on behalf of the ERC.
And I am really upset because I find that for something that affects us, this is the Forum for People of African Descent. And I feel that at such a forum, we should be representing ourselves. We should not have anyone of another ethnicity representing us. If it were an issue that affected the Guyanese nation as a whole, that would have been acceptable because, you know, we can represent the country. Anybody can. But when it comes to something that's specific to African people, I think it's only fair that we should represent ourselves and not have anybody else represent us. Because this came off of the decade for people of African descent. And we're now promised a second decade because in the first decade, nothing much was achieved, if at all.
And Norris Witter, who was representing the trade union movement on the ERC, said he was nominated to represent the ERC at the Permanent Forum, but he declined the nomination because he felt it reprehensible for the ERC chair to lead the delegation. And secondly, out of concern that the government was bearing part of the cost for the trip. He said as an independent organization, the ERC should have took on the cost for the entire trip to attend the Permanent Forum. Addressing the issue of today's opening of the Permanent Forum, the ERC said at a statutory meeting back in January, Norris Witter and Ashton Simon were nominated to represent the ERC at the forum. However, both Witter and Simon withdrew. The ERC said it stands committed to promoting harmony and good relations among all the citizens of Guyana.